All right, as Russia ups its offensive and encircles the capital city of Kiev, we are looking at voices coming in from Moscow. Tatiana Kukhareva, Deputy Head, Sputnik News, Moscow, joining us live right here. Tatiana, Russia claims that civilians are not the target and civilian establishments are not what they're looking at. But here, this bomb that's struck at one of those residential buildings speaks of a very different story. What has happened?
I wish I saw the screen and what you're showing right now, actually.
This is of a residential building being bombed and it's currently under fire.
Look, again, like I wish I saw the actual pictures, or at least the actual place that we're talking about. What has been happening and what we've spoken about repeated number of times, is that Ukraine's armed forces have been putting artillery, have been putting machinery into residential blocks. They've been occupying actual apartments with snipers and stuff. So it's no surprise that the buildings come under fire if there is a place that has been taken by the Ukraine's armed forces. In the meantime, before we actually see, we actually know what was the rocket that hit it, there is no confirmation that the rocket has come from the Russian side at all. We've had multiple cases of Ukraine actually firing at its own civilian buildings. There is, as far as at least we've heard, there is a lot of the paramilitary parts of the Ukrainian armed forces that that take weird measures, to say the least, in this conflict. So unfortunately, without me seeing the pictures, first of all, what building are we talking about, and without actual information of which side, the Ministry of Defense always publishes, the Russian Ministry of Defense always publishes all of the pictures of all of the fire targets that they've destroyed so far. So, I mean, we'll have to wait for the briefing to understand if it indeed came from the Russian side, that missile. In the meantime, it could have come from, unfortunately and sadly, there have been precedents of Ukraine shooting their own people and bombing their own sites.
Well, this is a big claim that's coming from you. Ukrainians themselves could have targeted their own residential areas only to try and unleash their propaganda, accusing Russia of doing so. But here, Russian troops have encircled Kiev. How far are you and what's delaying you from really capturing the capital city? Why have you stopped in your tracks?
Well, I personally, if my calculations are correct, I think that I personally am about 1,300 kilometers away, if my memory does not, mislead me.
Aren't you aware of the movements of the troops?
I do understand. I am aware of the movements of the troops, the ones that, but you have to understand, and this is of utmost importance, that the ongoing operation is an ongoing operation. So the Ministry of Defense does not announce the movement of the troops before they actually move, which I'm sure you understand is of utmost importance.
So then you cannot specifically put your finger to whether this is the Russian troops that have targeted the residential building or it's Ukraine. Now let's shift focus to what Ukraine claims.
Yeah. Nobody can, not just us.
Right. So we'll let that aside. Ukraine here claiming that they've managed to kill 13,500 odd Russian soldiers. Russia has not given out a count on that. There's no confirmation that Russia has given, except for 438 soldiers that you all have confirmed dead in this war. Would you substantiate those claims made by Ukraine?
458, actually. Okay. And of course not. I mean, the number that they're saying, first of all, they change daily. The latest number that I've heard of from the Ukrainian side is 15,000, and it's quite a claim if you can, you understand how, again, we have a very highly trained and highly skilled armed forces, and to claim that Ukraine could have managed to kill 15,000 of those is quite a claim. Unfortunately, it has not been backed up by at least images. I mean, 15,000 dead bodies is quite a few of them. And from the pictures that we've seen, as a journalist, I have to actually go through all of the footage for obvious reasons. And I mean, there's not even 100. We'll also get targeted by hackers and by DDoS attacks. So I receive about 30 to 100 letters with photographs of supposedly killed Russian troops. And even there, it's barely 100. So forgive me being cynical in this situation, but until Ukraine can back those claims up, and they're coming up with ridiculous stories of, makeshift crematoriums, of Russians burning dead bodies and stuff. Again, until they can back them up, I would stay clear of those numbers. We have to check them.
Right. Tatiana, the commander-in-chief, the army general there in Ukraine has almost called Russian troops' invincibility a mere myth. He's almost mocking Russia, saying that if at all Russia planned to go, in fact, moved as per plan, then they should have managed to enter Kiev by now. It's 20 days on and they're still stuck at those points. They're not able to infiltrate only because Ukraine is putting up stiff resistance. How do you look at this mockery?
Of course he's saying that because he has to keep up the morale of his own troops. I mean, I probably would say the same if I were in his place, because otherwise he would have to actually literally tell them to go get themselves to surrender. Look, we're in day 20, as you rightly noticed, and the one and the only reason why the Russian forces, they're not stuck, they're moving daily. We have daily updates of the movements of the troops. Obviously, after those movements have actually been successfully done. Also, you do know that some of the battalions that are in the best shape and our most skilled battalions are on the forefront right there outside of Kiev. And I wouldn't joke with those guys. The only reason that they're not taking Kiev by force, and I do believe we've repeated that daily throughout this operation, is the fact that there are civilians inside of that city. I mean, it would have been taken 20 days ago if that was the utmost, the goal of the operation, to take Kiev. It could have been done in 1 day, 2 days maximum. Just bomb it to the ground and take it. It's not that difficult. The difficult part is keeping civilians alive and focusing on the military targets, which are being destroyed on a daily basis. We've been speaking about this, with the city of Mariupol, that has the Azov battalion has put up quite a resistance. But, in the end, it's the same story.
Tatiana, if I could get your word on this, would you officially announce what are those key areas or cities that Russia has taken complete control of?
The key cities that, excuse me, the connection.
Go on, we can hear you.
Repeat the question. I know, I could not hear your complete question.
The cities that Russia has taken complete control of, because Ukraine says that there is no area that Russia has fully invaded or taken control of. But we know that y'all have managed to strike several areas like Mariupol, the port city. Would you be able to establish for us here what are those key areas that y'all have managed to take full control?
Of course. Yesterday, our armed forces have actually confirmed that Mariupol has been taken into control, and they've been doing the evacuation of civilians from the city of Mariupol. And then it goes to the south, city of Melitopol, that is just outside Crimea, actually. Obviously the full areas of Lugansk and Donetsk republics have been taken into control. Kherson is under Russian control. So the top priorities right now, I'd say, would be Kharkov and Kiev, which are still resisting. And, again, those are huge cities, bigger cities, where a lot of the civilian population would come into incredible harm if the assault should go as the Ukrainian side claims it would. I mean, we've been hearing for them saying that now today they're going to storm Kiev. Look, the Russian side has confirmed they're not storming Kiev because, again, there are just too many civilians. We've been trying to ask for Ukraine to evacuate. The Russian Ministry of Defense has been opening humanitarian corridors daily. Unfortunately, the Ukrainian side keeps denying them. You know, it's a two-way street. And if the civilian population was not of the utmost importance for the Russian troops, then again, question it. Why are they still not in the center of Kiev? I mean, it could have gone very differently. It's a very strong army, and it's a much bigger army than the Ukrainians.
All right, we know the capacity of Russia, we know the kind of arms, ammunitions, the deployment as well, but somehow the fact that this is day 20 of this war, Russia hasn't managed to fully capture Kiev. We're, of course, now looking at large-scale destruction in many cities, but there is no formal control yet. But we hear your word and we hear you loud and clear. Russia does not want to take over by force. You all are inching closer strategically. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time, Tatiana, for joining us.